You need to build something which is more interactive, which is more immersive. You try on all your products, like if I was experience about your factory, like a lot of us has this curiosity.
There's one particular thing which you brought up, right? With the Facebook rebranding to Meta, right? And it's a very, I don't know how to put it, but it is definitely bringing the concept to the forefront. Just that there is a lot of misconception, at least within the people that I know, that Meta owns Metaverse as a concept, right? And that's the misconception that comes a lot of times, especially when all brands are trying to win this race of owning the metaverse, right? I want to know your views, whether it's an efficient process to keep an organization or an entity fully decentralized and run in a decentralized autonomous manner as how DAOs plan to.
See, the way I see it, the decentralization is just one component of Web3. It is not a must. Like most of people end up confusing, like if it's not decentralized, then how it is a Web3. So I believe like Web3 is one term and decentralization is another and Metaverse is another. So Metaverse is like, as I mentioned earlier, like it's a 3D virtual space. It can be decentralized and it cannot be decentralized. Like it's an option. Like Meta is choosing to be a centralized Metaverse. On the other hand, Decentraland is a decentralized metaverse, though decentraland and decentralization has very confusing terms, but that's a metaverse which is decentralized, right? So it's more like, do you want your company to be a private limited or a single owner, or how do you want it to run? It's just like there are two different options. You can run it as decentralized, or you can choose to just own it completely. And when it comes to the question of does it really make sense to decentralize it? So I believe it really depends on the use case. See, for example, if we are creating a concept like, let's say, Instagram in Metaverse, it completely makes sense to decentralize so that creators are incentivized. Right now, everything, right from the algos, what, who is paid how much, and everything is controlled by Instagram / Facebook / Meta, right? But imagine a platform in Metaverse, which is a social media platform, and creators, whatever they create, they are incentivized accordingly, and it's transparent. It's not controlled by a single entity. Yes, definitely it makes sense. Let's take another example, maybe a metaverse where, let's say, education, right? Let's create a metaverse for educational purposes. It can be decentralized, where you are incentivizing teachers / educators to put out content. So they really put good quality content. Their incentives are more aligned to put that kind of content because they'll be earning more. But at the same time, if you want to run it like individual as an entity, it can be done too, because you want to control the quality of content and everything. I think it really depends on the use case. It's not a like blind decision. No, you have to be decentralized always. At least that's what my POV.
Yeah, a lot of, which is when semi-centralization and sub-DAOs as a concept come in. And I don't really want to get into, the technical details of that right now. And I would want to proceed with the brand identity and the marketing aspect of Metaverse. But I think this was a good ground breaking session, I would say, on what a definition of Metaverse is. Then we proceeded to decentralization and the pros and cons of that. So I do have a specific question for Nisha, as in around marketing, right? So you did explain the marketing value of Metaverse and why should brands enter and why is it important to learn about the concept. But what I want to ask Nisha is, how do you build a brand in the Metaverse? Because you are building one of your own, and let's address the elephant in the room, right? The biggest topic that I think the audience is also interested in, like, how do you go around and build a brand in the Metaverse?
So I believe there are two ways when you ask that question, like how do you build a brand in Metaverse? One is actually making a company which is purely based in the Metaverse, like Talented Hippo, right? We are doing creativity sessions in the Metaverse. Earlier, all the sessions used to be hosted on the Zoom, on Google Meet and everything. But we realized that, Google Meet and Zoom and such platforms are enough boring for people like you and me in this age. So when it comes to kids, they need a lot of space to walk around, to feel, and that's why they like physical spaces. So if at all you want education to move from offline to online and have more people access to this, you need to build something which is more interactive, which is more immersive, and they have a sense of space. Let's talk about existing brands like P&G or Apple or OnePlus or any other domains. Let's talk about those brands, how they can now utilize the power of Metaverse. Definitely, they're not going to build their entire product around Metaverse, but what they can do, like recently OnePlus launched their one of the phone, like recent in the Metaverse itself. But on the other side, Nike launched the entire experience of shoes and everything in the Metaverse itself. How I see a cosmetic brands can utilize the Metaverse is like you can invite your niche audience or the loyal customers in the Metaverse space with a very cool avatar and, literally try on all your products. Like if you want to kind of give a cool sense to your avatar, use their different foundations, use their eyeshadows, use their lipsticks. That way you are giving real experience of their product. And then they can play games to win goodies of cosmetics, to win, specific NFTs that give them lifelong, let's say 20% off on their cosmetic products. You can also create an entire Metaverse experience about your factory. Like a lot of us has this curiosity that how cosmetics products are created, or how glass products are created, or how different products are created. They can really give a real tour of their factory by creating that entire experience in the Metaverse. So I believe every domain needs to really think how they need to harness this Metaverse as a tool.
My follow-up question would be now specifically targeting towards a brand identity, right? Brand identity in the Web2 world or in the physical world, it is defined by the logo, the colors that you use, the image that you try to create. That is the identity of your brand, right? There are brands who are very funky or goofy. There's brands who are very, I don't know how to say it, like confident, right?
Of course, they have their own imagery.
Each brand has their own image, right? Whether it's a luxury brand or a more approachable brand. Now, that is all defined by how the CEO even represents itself in the crowd, how the consumer base is, and all of that. For entering the Metaverse, now would there be new parameters or new avenues for brands to explore?
Definitely.
To create a brand identity. So I would want to know your opinions on these as well. Like, what are these new avenues that would be there?
See, it right from the avatars you are creating for your customers, right from the Metaverse you are creating, the experiences you are creating, what sort of games are there, what sort of interactions are there, what sort of immersive experiences are you providing? Are you providing a lot of background that goes in building of your brand, like building of your product? So what exactly you're doing for that? What sort of launches are you doing? All of that, like it's more immersive, it's more experiential. So in Web2, it was just about like one thing that you put out, like a logo. There is nothing to interact with logo, right? But in this, everything is so immersive and so interactive that anything you put out in that Metaverse matters. So that defines, like all of a sudden, like Nike already had a cool image, I'll say in Web2 also. But the moment they launched that entire Nike Land in the Roblox, it's like now you're more appealing to Gen Z. You're more appealing to the younger audiences because, if you observe, a lot of brands feel this threat, and then it happens also that very soon it becomes a uncle brand, or no, my mom used to use this, but now I am a new audience. I'm 21 years old. I need to explore new brands, and that's how the cycle goes on, right? A lot of new like 20, 22-year-old people don't want to use the same brand as their parents are using or as their elder siblings are using. They just want to explore more, and that's how these new startups keep coming up, right? New designs, new thing. And I feel Metaverse is the way for you to create that cool identity to appeal to the newer age audience.
Yeah, very well put. Like the audience that these new brands are targeting is the younger audience, right? And what I feel, because we're talking about brand identity here, the biggest identity that comes out for most brands in the metaverse is that they're new age and they're cool, right? But the problem is that most brands are limited to this new identity now, right? So we need more variety, and we need more ways for brands to come up with innovative ways to create a distinguishable identity in the metaverse as well. Like how is Nike different from Adidas in the metaverse? We need to find that. Both of them are doing digital twins of their sneakers, right? Nothing new.
Right.
Gucci is doing the same. Prada is doing the same. But we need a new brand identity for these brands. Rather, what I feel that because of following a particular template, they are kind of losing their brand identity, just that by being covered by this huge umbrella of new age and cool brand.